all the way plenaries over the previous week through all the live sessions this weekend. We're just going to start off by thanking all the sponsors for the conference. So again, thank you so much, Physicians for National Health Program, International Association of Machinists, National Nurses United, Labor Campaign for Single Payer, Minnesota Nurses Association. These are really my favorite organizations. Healthcare for All Oregon, Public Citizen, Russ Rubicki of Share Power Responsible Investing, United Steelworkers, MassCare, Progressive Dems of America, Massachusetts Peace Action, Democratic Socialists for Medicare for All, Healthcare for All Washington, and last but not least, Railroad Workers United, who, by the way, we just signed on to their campaign to make the railroads public again. So
make it all public, Ben.
Yes.
Healthcare, railroads, the whole bit.
Railroads, health insurance, things that don't work when they're run by markets. You end up with meltdowns of trucks running off the rails, and you end up with people dying with no access to healthcare. So all great things that markets give you when they're providing basic rights and public goods.
Sure.
So also, again, thank you so much to all the presenters and workshops. People have been giving really high ratings to the content this year. So you all did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much to Kale and Holly. I know that a small group of you have really depended heavily on the tech support team to get you through this conference. I hope they were able to help you out. And thanks to the Healthcare Now board as well. So, Jillian.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is very, very exciting. I hope that folks have logged on by this point, because we really want to hear from you at this point about some of the things that you picked up this weekend that you're going to be taking with you. So we were really hoping that we could share. You could share in the chat, in the comments section, something that you're going to be taking away from the conference and taking back to your organizing work. If you could just drop it in the comments, tell us about what you've learned here. Maybe something surprising that you didn't know before. Maybe something that you already knew that was reinforced. Or maybe something that gave you a little life this weekend, gave you some new energy to go back out on the streets and get back in the fight.
Don't everyone rush to the YouTube comment section at once. So maybe while folks are typing and thinking out like what their biggest takeaway from this conference was, should we start with our takeaways, Jillian?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
All right. So I've been, one of the shitty things about sort of organizing the conference is we don't actually get to participate in most of the workshops. We're putting out fires. We're trying to help people through their sessions. So I didn't get the full scope of everything in there, but I definitely watched basically all the plenary sessions that were pre-recorded beforehand and the live session update on Congress. And I feel like, we've got about half of the Democratic delegation in the House, at least, on board the bill. And the real question is, what is the challenge getting this second half on board? And personally, Jillian, I kind of feel like our biggest task right now is kind of driving a wedge between the remaining Democrats, or really the whole Democratic Party, and just healthcare corporate influence and healthcare corporate power. And we might like to think that Democrats are better than Republicans in terms of being bought off by the healthcare industry, but I think everyone probably in this conference is savvy enough to know that that is not the case, that there's a really cozy relationship between, wings of big pharma, certainly Medicare Advantage plans, private insurance companies, and a lot of the Democratic delegation. But when you kind of look at the campaign work that folks are focusing on this year, I'm thinking of certainly the Patients Over Profits pledge campaign that NNU is leading and that we're a part of. That's, again, trying to make Democrats pay if they want to just take up millions and millions of dollars from the healthcare industry and then pretend like they're doing the right thing on healthcare. And similar, I think, for People's Action's campaign, Care Over Costs, which hopefully a bunch of you were in those workshops this weekend. That's also kind of shaming the health insurance industry, making them toxic for Democrats to be affiliated with, that they're just denying care from folks. And also just the organizing work around Medicare Advantage and the privatization of Medicare, very similar. It's kind of like no longer making it easy for Democrats to sort of ally themselves with the private health industry, making them pay a cost and really lobbying and pushing them on that. And I think that is all going to kind of these campaign work is really directly connected to how we can win Medicare for all, which is decisively kind of prying apart the Democratic Party from the healthcare corporate industries interests. And I see a lot of comments coming in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of folks sharing some of the things that they're taking away. We have Catherine says all the problems are still continuing. How do we best change our country's direction? That is an excellent question for us to leave here with, for sure. Madeline says, why is there MDCR A and B? Ugh, reproductive care. Gather was fun.
I'm glad you like Gather, Madeline. Not everyone does.
You,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Someone who's going by Spa Pure on YouTube, I could use a massage right now, says, was unaware that a majority of POC members of Congress co-signed Medicare for All, or it might have been that members of Congress with majority POC constituents co-signed Medicare for All.
Both are true. Yep.
Both are true. Absolutely. That's something that, that's really something that we want to uplift. And we try to uplift every time we give that racial equity training that Stephanie gave today, because we really want to make it clear that people of color are taking tremendous leadership in our movement. And this really just points to one of the ways in which racism is a huge obstacle in organizing white folks around Medicare for All. Marva says, I learned that we have much more work to do, but we can make change. Yes, absolutely. You already knew that, Marva, I bet. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Laura says, made me want to fight harder, but the challenge is overwhelming. I hear you, Laura. It is tough. And that is why we are going to take a deep breath and get right back on that bicycle.
Right.
Or horse. Is it back on the horse, back on the bicycle, back on the wagon?
I think Laura's, to keep hope while in Medicare for All organizing it does feel like such a big long-term goal, and you don't know how long-term means. But I think breaking our goals into smaller pieces, that, it's not getting all of Congress right now to pass Medicare for All. It's let's like get this one rep to sign. And then if that's too far, it's getting, a larger number of constituents in that rep's district to sign on and to call their office. Or maybe it's getting a municipality in their district to pass a resolution. Just, the smaller pieces that we know we can achieve and we know we can win, that'll get us a little bit closer. To me, that's what kind of lets me maintain hope, is like when we can see the pathway there and we feel we're making progress on it. So
that is awesome. Let's see. Just to read off a few more things that other folks are saying that are so critical here. Judy says, I have a much more detailed understanding of the insidious role of private equity. I really hope that everyone, if you haven't had a chance, will go back and take a look at the public citizen panel about private equity and their report about that. So important to, to keep in mind the kind of really huge money that's up against us. Michelle here is thinking about the need to save the VA and traditional Medicare from privatization. Save the Medicare Act. Yes, absolutely. Excellent. And Heather Stockwell says that she's been inspired by the work in other states, which is going to change me up for the coming work ahead. Charge me up for the coming work ahead, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, and a lot of people just commenting in here that they're really impressed by how smart all of us are.
Yeah. Especially the two of us, I think, really.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially us, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, but talking about I see a comment here. Oh, sorry, the comments are coming in hot and heavy. But Bill Davis says, I'm awed by the knowledge and talent displayed by the people involved in this fight. And you know what? I agree with you, Bill. I think folks here are super smart and are just thinking so in such important, clever ways about how we're going to win this. I wanted to give a big shout out to everyone who came to my reproductive justice workshop yesterday. One of the things that I was so struck by is that people there were so ready to take action. Folks were talking about the kind of inroads that they're already making, doing the real hard work of organizing, actually having difficult conversations one-on-one with people, and engaging other organizations. And I had to say that's so inspiring to me, to see the real organizing work that people are doing to meet people where they are and bring new constituencies into the Medicare for All movement.
Yeah. And I wanted to shout out, I see John Greg Miller said he found the State of the States session particularly helpful, but he said he hasn't seen a lot of the pre-recorded plenaries. And just want to highlight for you all, you can go back right now and watch any of those pre-recorded plenaries. They're all up on the schedule. You just have to expand the day. So click on, Monday, April 17th, and that'll open up all the recorded plenaries that we had from that day. Same thing, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So feel free to take your time and go back and digest all that amazing content. So,
and then on top of that, I just wanted to say that what we're going to be doing is taking all of the recordings from the different workshop sessions that have been held this weekend. All of those are going to get uploaded to our YouTube channel, where they'll be publicly available. And as soon as that's done, I promise you, I will email the links to all of you who are registered for this conference.
Right. Give us about a week and a half to first recover from organizing a conference. We're going to disappear off the face of the earth for a couple days, and then it takes time to process all the videos from the Zoom recording. So
we'll be back, though.
Yes,
promise.
yes. Jillian, did you have a takeaway from the conference?
Yeah, absolutely. This is. I mean, this was just such an energizing moment. And I think that, I think we'd all like to be hammering on Medicare for All 24 hours a day. But what really impressed me about this conference was the different ways in which people are meeting people who are impacted by our healthcare system exactly where they're at, right? And so when we do these fights defending Medicare or Medicaid programs or the VA or Indian Health Services or any of these programs that already exist, right?
That was a Freudian slip.
or like the Care Over Cost campaign, right? Like talking to people about the insurance plans they already have, right? I feel like what we're doing is really meeting people where they're at, engaging them, and then bringing them back into the fight for Medicare for All. And I really think that this is one of the main ways we're going to be building our movement going forward, is really thinking about how people experience the healthcare system and looking for ways to kind of intervene in that moment and to draw their attention away to Medicare for All.
Yeah, and so many people are directly impacted by the healthcare system. You don't have to search very far to find people who have lived experiences with we can just stare across the screen at one another, I guess. But yeah. So, but speaking of action, yes, that is kind of the point of this closing plenary. So now I'm going to attempt to stick a link into the YouTube stream. Hopefully it works and you see it all. This is, we've compiled a little list of all of these sort of ongoing, really active campaign work, not just that Healthcare Now is doing, but all of our allied organizations that we can identify to help kind of plug you in with that work. But we're going to talk about it a little bit as well. So.
Absolutely. And just to be clear, this is just a few people who reached out to us about calls for action they'd like us to share with you. So of course, we know that this doesn't represent every active campaign, but it's certainly a nice sampling and a great place to start. So I just wanted to start off with the first thing on this list, and this is something that we feel really, really passionately about. As you hopefully heard in the plenary about the upcoming Medicaid crisis, about 15 million people are at risk and very likely to lose their Medicaid coverage this year, thanks to the ending of the public health emergency for COVID, as declared by President Biden. And this is something that is just unacceptable. This could be really one of the greatest kind of catastrophes in the American healthcare system, perhaps ever. This could be the largest disruption of healthcare coverage for a large number of people. So we got together with the folks at Roots Action, and we over 5,000 people have signed this petition so far. And we'd love it if you could. I'm sorry, it's not exactly a petition. Basically, you click on the link and you can send an email to President Biden demanding that he take executive action immediately to stop this. This is a process that's happening. They're calling it the unwinding of Medicaid, but really what it is a purge. They're purging people from the Medicaid rolls, and that is exactly as dangerous and deadly as it sounds. But this unwinding actually started this month, so it's something that we need immediate action on right now.
Yeah, and I think the letter is just kind of the first step. If you sign the letter, write the letter, it'll let us know that you care about this and that we can talk with you as we're doing more organizing later in the year. So the next campaign we wanted to talk about was the Patients Over Profits campaign, which NNU did a couple of amazing workshops on that today about how they're applying that campaign in the South. But you can take on the Patients Over Profits campaign anywhere, regardless of where you live. Basically, this is a pledge that either elected officials or people who are running for elected office take, and they say they're not going to accept dirty money from the healthcare industry. Essentially, those who are affiliated with the campaign to undermine Medicare for All. And this campaign was modeled on the No Fossil Fuels money pledge, which was very, very successful. It took them 3 or 4 years to really ramp it up. But eventually in the last presidential election cycle, every single Democratic candidate for president signed the pledge not to take money from the fossil fuel industry. So this is kind of our version of that. But you can ask folks who are running for boards of aldermen, who are running for city council, for the county commission, all the way up to members of Congress and senators. But we're generally starting at the lower levels right now. And then once we build up a base of a lot of folks around the country who have signed it, then we're going to start going after the sort of harder, bigger targets. But I'm going to drop that in the link to the connection to the Patients Over Profits website. So.
And like Ben said, that can be like a really good first step for building power. Building power locally as a way to eventually get statewide power. Right. Keep going, So one of the things that we've been talking about a lot over the course of the conference is the fact that we're reintroducing the Medicare for All Act in the Senate and the House this year. And so if you are interested in getting ready for that, which we hope you all are, you should join the National Nurses United. We love you, National Nurses United, on an organizing call that's happening this Thursday, April 27th, in the evening. And there you have the link to register. You can just sign up right there and they'll send you a reminder and everything and let you know when it's happening.
Great. The next action we wanted to call your attention to, I think a lot of you have already been involved with already, but just in case you haven't heard about it or you're not already plugged in, our allies at Public Citizen are coordinate municipal resolutions. So this is getting your city or town governments to pass a resolution calling for Medicare for All. This is a great stepping stone, especially if you're having a hard time getting your legislator, your member of Congress or your senators to sign on. You can start building from the grassroots and building some pressure inside their district. So again, if you live in a town or a city that has not passed a resolution calling for Medicare for All, this is a great sort of local action you can take to start building pressure on those higher up electeds. So.
Awesome. And then This one is something that's a very small action that can have a huge impact. One of the things that we need to make sure that we're doing is amplifying the work that the organizing that's going on in our movement. And so I hope that many of you have heard about the Care Over Cost campaign. They did some really awesome workshops, and the folks from People's Action did a really excellent plenary earlier in the week on Thursday about organizing for single payer in the long run. And so they have their Care Over Cost campaign, where they're basically lifting up individuals who have been unable to get the care that they need from their insurance company, covered by their insurance company. And so they're working on a current campaign right now for someone named Jen. And she's an activist, I believe, with Rights and Democracy in New Hampshire. And if you could just follow the link that Ben's going to drop in the chat and that's on your sheet, it'll take you to a tweet that People's Action has put out about this campaign. And if you can retweet that, that helps us to put a big megaphone up to that campaign so that other people can hear. I also included there on that sheet the email address that you can write to if you're interested in just getting more involved with that campaign.
Yeah, I got into this movement after having my insurance company deny a really, really important long hospital stay I had. So that's kind of what that whole People's Action campaign is about, is identifying folks who've had unfair claims denials, unjustly denied by their insurance company, and shining a spotlight on where all these profits are coming from in the health insurance industry. They're all coming from basically our human suffering. So the last thing I wanted to do, action, very important campaign, Jillian. I don't know if you know about this one. Actually, the most important one.
The most. Okay. Yes.
This is keeping myself and Jillian in employment. You can support us by donating to Healthcare Now. Especially, we had over 60 people attend this conference under scholarships. So we have to fundraise between $2,000 and $3,000 just to cover all those fees. So if you can donate to Healthcare Now and help us kind of cover those scholarship fees, that would make a huge, huge difference. So really appreciate that if you're able to, in a position to support us.
Absolutely. And, of course, we want to keep conferences like this coming and hopefully build to the point where we can have an in-person conference sometime in the future.
Lord have mercy.
But we know that takes a lot of money. We know that power is an equation, right? It's organized people plus organized money. Y'all are the organized people. And if we're going to get more organized people, we're going to need to organize a little money. So if you can make a contribution, please do. We greatly appreciate it. And in staff meeting every week, Ben and I go through who's donated the previous week, and we send you all love and vibes. And we really appreciate you so much. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let you all go early on good behavior. But before we do, we just wanted to ask you if you could write in the comments section, are there any of those actions that you are planning on taking after this conference? What are your next steps in terms of taking some of the things you learned and actually taking them into the field? Just tell us what action you're taking, what campaign you'd like to get involved in. Maybe one of these campaigns just piqued your interest. You'd like to learn a little bit more. Put that in the chat section. And I'm just going to tell you two more things. One is, as we mentioned, we're going to be off. We're going to be off for a couple of days, trying to recover our mental health after finishing this conference, which it becomes kind of a full-time plus, I don't know, time and a half job for about the month leading up to the conference. So you might not, if you need to reach us for something, if you're looking for slideshows, stuff like that, you're just going to have to wait till Wednesday to hear back from us. We might be unresponsive over the next couple of days. So I apologize for that, but we will get back to all your requests about the conference on Wednesday. And then the other thing, which we've already mentioned, is that we will be getting all of the workshops, except the Telling Your Story one. We don't like to record that so people can feel safe telling their stories in that workshop. But I think all of the other workshops are going to be recorded. We'll get those up on YouTube, and we will send an email to everyone who attended the conference showing you how to access all that great material, since you could only attend one workshop per session, unfortunately.
And I do want to say that our telling your story and the policy case for Medicare for all and the racial equity training, they are all part of our regular training series. So all of those trainings will be repeated again once a month for the duration. So we are, very excited to continue this learning process with you. We have a question about slides. We're going to share them wherever possible. Sometimes it's up to the presenter, but we will try. Let's
Yeah,
see.
and some of the sessions actually have the slides attached to them on the conference website.
Already.
But if you have a session you're interested in the slides and you do not see them attached to the session, if you scroll down below the description, there's actually like a file link where you can download it. But not all of them have that. So let me know if you're interested in a slide deck. Just send us an email and we'll get it up there for you.
Awesome. I see here that there are all sorts of folks who are getting ready to take action to do stuff, which is awesome. Jackie is going to be going to a care over cost organizing meeting in Maryland next week, pushing on the co-sponsor drive. Heather is continuing with the care over cost campaign in New Hampshire and the Save Our Medicaid work. They'll be getting into patients over profits later in the year. Timothy Bruce, hey Tim, is working on storytelling for our printed and visual communications over at SPAN in Ohio, which is awesome. And we have here, and Bob is donating.
Yes, thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Bob says he apologizes for interjecting about private equity, but I think that we all know that private equity is always relevant. So
unfortunately, yep.
Appreciate that unfortunate reminder. Honestly, thank you so much to all of you. Again, we love you all. Our movement is founded on love, and we've really felt the love this weekend of being together with all of you. So thank you so much. Stay safe and stay dangerous.
All right. We'll talk to you all soon as you get back to working in your states. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.